This episode of Cast to Craze is brought to you by
Eager Raven returns to Kickstarter in its first trade paperback, collecting issues 1 through 4 in one full color volume. Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm after she is betrayed by her elf prince husband-to-be. Dragons overtake her kingdom, and how she trains to become a knight with the help of an unusual trio of blacksmiths. It's a mature audience telling of the classic hero's journey with a soap opera twist. So check out Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 1 today.
Today we're going to be talking to Chris Waigand about his tights. Let's get it!
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Cast the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Cast the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the dreamer, Medina. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. We are live tonight, and we have a very special guest, Mr. Chris Waigand. Wait. I can't pronounce his last name. There he is. Tights numbers 1 and 2 on Kickstarter. That is live right now, I believe, right?
right
So
now.
we're going to be talking to him. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, comment below.
That's
Hit
right.
the bell. We're going to be live on tomorrow. I think on Thursday morning, definitely. I'm not sure if we're live tomorrow night. But yeah, Sammy, what's happening, my man? How you doing?
What's up? First of all, shout out to our first sponsor. We have a few sponsors of the show tonight. Our first sponsor, Daphne Lage, who has Eagle Raven, who is currently also on Kickstarter, and she's also killing the game. I think she was funded in like the first 45 minutes. But check it out, Eagle Raven. Links in the summary if you want to check it out. What's going on? It's that we made 100, bro. We made 100.
Yay!
100
people signed
subscribers.
up.
That's right. They signed up.
Yeah, signed up for
Well,
the
they
launch.
subscribe to your launch page. I mean, yeah, subscribe. They're
They're
following it.
The launch of There's an Alien in My Toilet, I Chihuahua, book number 3, which launches on the 20th of September. And so far, we have 100 people who signed up. Thank you so much. And if you haven't signed up already, what are you waiting for? I don't understand what's going on. But sign up today. It's going to be fun. I Chihuahua, book number 3. Duty finally gets into a house. He finally encounters humans. He meets a Chihuahua named Herman, who thinks Duty's a talking jalapeno. The government's after him. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, how much can an alien take? Anyway, but that's not all. If you thought that was all, man, you're slipping. That's not all, because Duty has another story to share with you. Duty does what Duty does. And what is it, you ask? I'll tell you. It's Duty's Monsters on Planet Cthulhu. That's right. You can unlock. This is a stretch goal. It's a 24-page story of Duty on. He's facing Cthulhu. What the hell does that have to do? And what's with Duty's Monsters? There's a whole lot. So Duty's in high school. He's pondering. He's like, my life is boring. I need to go on another adventure. You know what? He just got back from Earth. He didn't learn his lesson there. So now he goes off to the outer rim to face this mythical creature. And, I think he bites off more than he can chew. But that's available to be unlocked, and you can add it as a to your basket. So there's a double feature on this campaign. If you haven't signed up already, do so. Link is also in the summary. I hope that you're there. It's going to be a party. And if you join us on the live launch on the 20th, right here on Cast the Craze Podcast, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If we get funded on the night of the launch, I'll be raffling off a painting. What? Are you crazy? Yes, I am. I'll be raffling off a t-shirt and some other goodies. but we have to get funded on the night of the launch. So you want to be there because you just might be the winner. Walk away with an original painting from the crazy man himself. That's just nuts. That's just nuts. Like Crazy Eddie giving it all away.
Crazy Eddie bringing it back.
Bringing it back.
Crazy Eddie was the joint, yo. Remember that dude, Crazy Eddie? That thing was crazy with the price on team. No, man, good stuff, good stuff. And make sure that if you haven't done so yet, check out the website, getyourmeds.com. That's my website with all of my stuff on there. I have t-shirts, I have hoodies, I have all kinds of stuff. I have books, you know, The Adventures of Wonder Duck, issues 1 through 4 is on there in the form of a graphic novel. Russ 5377, my boy, who I don't give enough love, don't show enough love. He's on the website as well, so make sure you pick that up. Get your meds.
You treat him like the orphan that he is.
That's right, stepchild, baby.
Oh,
stepchild.
I don't understand.
No, you know, everything has a time, you know, to shine. It's like your Gorf. Where's Gorf? Gorf gets treated like a
Gorf has a cameo in Duty Monsters.
No, but that's not enough. Gorf needs his own thing. You know what I'm saying?
So I got the Adventures of Cosmic Gorf.
Don't make excuses.
I got
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is every character has its time to shine. Right now, it's Duty for you. I'm sure Gorf will have his time too. Gorf has to have his time.
Eat up or
Yeah, exactly.
Where's that from? Where's that from?
I have no idea, dog.
Come on, George.
Sorry, dog.
Or eat up or eat up or that means I love you. Come fly with me. You remember the Jetsons?
Jetsons? What? Where in the Jetsons? What is
this? Remember he became he was singing and he's like and he had like a band. You gotta see, pull it up on YouTube. You'll see it.
Anyway, yes.
Sam's losing his mind.
Yeah, you're losing it, dog. You're losing it. But it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, no, a lot of things going on. The campaign launches on the 20th. Don't forget that's going to be live, 7:30 p.m. We are going to be live. Make sure you hit the bell so that you know when we are going live. Yes. We also have a show tomorrow. Is it live tomorrow night? What do we got going on tomorrow?
No, we don't have a live show tomorrow. We're live on Thursday morning with the Morning Brew. So join us
Thursday morning.
We'll have some interesting topics to discuss. Bring your coffee, pull up a chair, and engage with us. We usually chat with a live audience, so it's going to be fun. The Morning Brew, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on Catch the Craze.
Yeah. We've talked about different topics. Today is usually our live show that will air. Actually, next week, Friday, we have a really good show. We have an entrepreneur that's going to be.
No, it's actually this week.
That's this Friday. The second, right?
The second, yes, the first of its kind.
Show.
We have the CEO and owner of a call center in Costa Rica. He was born in the U.S., educated in the U.S., and decided to go over to Costa Rica and start his own business. Very successful entrepreneur who was a fan of Cast the Craze and reached out and wanted to talk about his business and the benefits of becoming an expat, right? And going overseas and starting your own business and risk taking, resilience, all those things. So it's a really fantastic interview. I interviewed him a few weeks ago, and I really enjoyed the conversation. So if you are trying to build your business, this is a good show for you. Because this guy really represents all those key ingredients that you need to really avoid the pitfalls and navigate in these rough waters and be successful.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Can't wait to check it out. That's coming this Friday, so make sure you check that out on Friday. But tonight we're going to be talking to a friend of the show, man.
Yeah.
Chris is coming through. He's got his the second issue of Tights.
Yeah, is
on, and we're going to be talking to him about that tonight. So that's going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
Tights 1 was a good read, so I can't wait to see what he's got coming on.
And he's killing it. I mean, he's killing it. I think I don't know how fast he got Project We Love. He got 114 backers already.
Good.
Good.
He's well deserved.
So he's got 15 days to go. So it's all gravy from here. It's So it's like, he had the salad, he had the appetizer, he had the soup, he had the meal. Now it's dessert, baby. Now it's dessert and that nice Chardonnay, and it's just gonna be chilling, right? So you should go and check it out. Again, the link, I just put the link in the chat, and it's also in the summary. Check it out. But you're gonna hear from him directly, and he'll tell you why you should back Tights.
Big time, dude. Big
Time,
time.
man. Big
Yo,
time.
do you have anything going? Any conventions coming up? I think in October, don't you?
October, I have two conventions. I
Yeah.
have the Fan Festival, which is run by Fan Expo. I did the Fan Expo in Dallas, I was very successful there.
Yeah.
And now the Fan Festival, same convention center. It's just the difference is the Fan Expo in the summer in July brought in 80,000 people. The Fan Festival brings in 20,000 people. Still a lot of people. So I'm excited about that. And then I also have Cowtown Comic Con, which I met the promoter. Actually, the promoter introduced himself to me at the Arlington Comic Fest, and then we met up again at the Denton Comic Fest. So he's really excited about having me there, and we're actually going to have him on our show too. So I'm excited about that event, and I got put on onto that show by Paul Gomez, creator of Bushy Boo Circus Mysteries. So he actually introduced me to him. So shout out to Paul out there. And I think his Kickstarter is still running Bushy Boo, unless it ended already.
I think it ended.
Yeah, it ended. He was funded successfully. Congratulations to you. So shout out to you.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, no, it's been quite a few months for you as far as conventions go. I'm trying to figure out what conventions I want to do next year. So I'm starting to look at some conventions, see what I can do. I want to do at least 4 or 5 next year. So we shall see. This year, the New York Comic Con, I can't do the New York Comic Con. I actually have a wedding I'm going to, so I won't be able to do that.
It's like everybody you know is getting married.
I know, bro.
Like,
so that
where's
won't
this
be able to
one?
go to that. Yeah.
In Australia?
No, it's right here. It's in New York. It's in New York. Yeah. It's yes, but it's that weekend, so it's a wrap. And I'm in the wedding, so it's not even like I could be like, oh, yo, I couldn't make it.
You're the ring boy?
No. The flower boy. I'm sorry, I'm throwing out the flowers.
The ring bearer.
Giving out the flowers. But yeah, no, it's so that's happening. So I won't be able to do it. But yeah, I want to go back to the New York Comic Con. I haven't been back. I know you have that. I guess that convention might have left a bad taste in your mouth, but I think it's still a good show, man.
Nah, man, they're haters. Yes, the reason why I don't want to do New York Comic Con anytime soon, because if I'm going to fly to New York, I'm not going to fly to New York for New York Comic Con. Number one, because when they first launched, we were the first ones in there, and we were there for a couple of years in a row, and it was the indies were the ones who were really generating, because people were like apprehensive. Oh, New York is expensive, blah blah. And then once they took off, what happens? You get kicked to the curb, and you're treated as a stepchild. And so for me, it's like, you know what? I want to go where I'm appreciated and people want you to be there. Like, I met 4 different promoters out here in Texas that want me at that shows. That's what I want. Even though they're small, they're not New York Comic Con. In New York Comic Con, you're competing with all the big names. You're competing with Hollywood. You're competing. So for me to go through all that stuff and the inventory I would need to take and pay for the hotel and the flight and all that stuff, I'd rather do some local shows, have fun, and wait. And then
I mean, there's local shows here in New York too. The thing with and listen, you're brand new to Texas. It's the honeymoon stage. You know what I mean? Everything is good. Everything's fun. You love it. I love me. They love me because they don't know you yet. You know what I'm saying? But the thing with New York, and I think here's the thing with New York Comic Con, and I agree with you. I think the fact that they've raised prices so much,
crazy,
and have kind of like, they basically moved us out. I get it. I understand.
By the bathroom.
I still think that the New York Comic Con, much like San Diego, it's a good place for networking. It really is. I mean, it's a good place for networking. You're in a major city. There's tons of people walking through the door. You never know who's going to walk through that door. Now, it's a pipe dream. You never know. Whatever.
Fire marshal.
But I think that there's still the Comic Con in New York still is a huge show.
It is,
and it definitely has its pros and cons, like every other convention. Pros and cons like every other convention. I think it's the same thing could be said about San Diego. I'm sure San Diego isn't cheap. You know what I mean? It's not cheap. It's hard to get into, but it's Hollywood. It draws tons of people in there. You never know.
What I like about San Diego is that you have so one of the things, at least the last times I've done, I don't know if it's changed over the years, but when we did it, we actually had a say in where we wanted it would say what what's your preference. You get 3 options: A, B, C. What's your preference in placement? You don't get that in New York. They just throw you wherever.
Yeah. I don't know if they still do that. I wonder.
I don't know if they still do it, but in New York, they just throw you in. Next, you're in the middle of a mosh pit. And
you know what's the biggest? I think and I don't know if this happens in every convention, and but I feel like the turnover is huge. You may be speaking to somebody and they may be your person, and next year it's somebody completely different. So you build this rapport with this one person who's supposed to be taking care of you at the convention, and they're no longer there next year. So now you got to start all over again with a brand new person and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of turnover at these conventions. I mean, I guess it's because it's so big, they don't really care. It's just a number to them, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big problem, because you don't have that. Who do you talk to? Who do you reach out to? You don't reach out to anybody. They contact you. Right. So I guess a lot of these big conventions go through the same process. I remember Texas. That convention didn't get to you until what? When did they respond whether or not you were at the convention?
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
6 weeks before.
It happens. It happens everywhere. I mean, I just think that every state has a huge convention. I'm sure Dragon Con's the same way. MegaCon's the same way. These big conventions, they just a number to them. They don't care.
Absolutely.
They don't care.
Absolutely. But I think this episode is also brought to you by Story Comic Podcast. Story Comic is a podcast that focuses on people behind the words. The host, Barney Smith, interviews comic creators of all types and their works and tells stories about comics, comic-based stories, and all other forms of prose storytelling. We've been streaming our show online since 2019, and it's been amazing to see how many people around the world have come to appreciate and value of hearing stories from people who are just as passionate about their work as we are. So if you're a comic creator yourself, or you know someone who is, or if you just want to hear about how your favorite book or comic book are made, come check us out, storycomic.com. So thank you for Story Comic, and thank you, Daphne Lage, 2 of our sponsors of this show. We have 3 sponsors tonight, but thank you again for sponsoring Catch the Craze podcast. And I think it's about time that we bring in our guest.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I don't know. We got to talk about his tights. I don't know what's going on with this. What's up?
What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
Shit, man. You guys... It makes me feel like I'm not doing anything with my free time. You got so much going on. It's nuts. Shit, you're on the side of the road, George.
Dude, I just pull over.
You're not going to get hit by somebody.
It never stops. I'm outside right now. I'm like, holy cow, where am I?
Yeah,
luckily, I can't. I'm actually at the airport. I'm picking up my mom. She's coming in later. Her flight's delayed. So here I am, doing a podcast in the meantime.
Company man, I appreciate it. No, it's good. It's good to be on, man. It's awesome to hear all these updates and see what's going on and the new intro and all this stuff, man. It's
brother. Yeah. Hey, listen, you have some updates. I've seen some stuff online. You've got some updates for Tights, but before we get into any of that, just introduce yourself to the audience in case they haven't seen you on the show before.
Yeah, Chris Waigand, creator writer of Tights. What we got going on now, it's the second Kickstarter, but we put, Tights issue 1 and 2. I found myself, like, maybe subconsciously, it just feels better, because if you've missed out on like the first, if you're on the 4th issue or the 3rd issue, whatever, just seeing like 1 through, to me, it's like, okay, shit, I can get caught up probably for cheap, get the digital for cheap.
Right.
So we got that going. So yeah, it's technically the second one that we've done. Very fortunate. We're very, very lucky to first Kickstarter do really well. The second one's doing great. So like you said, it's gravy from here on out, but I would love to keep smashing these stretch goals so we can give people all the free stuff. I mean, who doesn't love that stuff? So
absolutely. And you're streaming from the West Coast, right? Right, Chris?
Yeah, man.
Is that where
Yep. I've lived in San Francisco for almost 10 years via Detroit. And the book takes place in San Francisco. And it was a lot of what went into it. I would look out and see in my alleyway happening. So during COVID, it was like just at the beginning of COVID, that was the kick of the butt I needed to add to the story that I thought just made it a little bit more topical and fun. And I guess somewhat scary that could this happen? Could things get worse? Could a second pandemic kind of cripple everything back to where we were, and then maybe we've all been watching too many Marvel movies and reading too many comic books and start putting on the tights and trying to fix things. So
you started writing that comic in 2020, right? That's when you started writing it?
I had the idea, but it was a completely different idea. It was called Justice, which, it just wasn't ownable. It was too serious. What it's about now is, it takes place in a world like our own. Second pandemic hit. We're recovering from it. So, a lot of people are employed. A lot of people, again, like I said, maybe want to fix things themselves, but they don't have the skills. They certainly don't have any superpowers. Think like a kick-ass, right? Like what would happen if real people tried to help out? And it usually goes bad. And so the protagonist is a judge. And he's Judge Oliver Andrews, and he hates these tights because he deals with them, right? They're clogging up the criminal justice system because they get caught half the time they're trying to help, right? And he sees the collateral damage that, they cause. He sees the families of the people that they've hurt accidentally, but still. And by definition, if you're a vigilante, you're breaking the law. And Oliver may be an asshole and he has his own faults, but he is true to the law. And so, so he really dislikes these people. And originally, it was just about a judge who had enough with the system, right? And it was like, I'm watching these horrible people get off. There's nothing I can do. I'm more like a referee than anything else, right? Like it's the system who's letting them go, not me. And it's like, I'm gonna do something about it. So in his after hours, it was about like a normal guy. Could you become a force of nature, or would you just get your ass kicked and murdered? So that was it was fun, but it wasn't all that original. And it just wasn't my style when I started writing it. And when COVID hit, a very serious thing, but a silver lining, I saw some of the madness too. Like I said, my apartment faced this alleyway in San Francisco called Willow. And I would see people making lassos out of jump rope, lassoing people in just madness. And it's crazy as it was, it still got me like smiling, and it got me like, you know what? I don't know. I think this could be still a hardcore, story about what happens when people do this, but also always have a smile, always have a wink. And that kind of evolved into what it is now. And I know that was a long diatribe, but started out very different. Now I think it's a little bit more fun.
Do you think that it's going to continue to change as things around you change? Is it a story that evolves as you continue to write it, or do you have something already set in mind and said, okay, this is what the story is going to be, and I've written it and it's done? How does that work? How does your creative process work?
It's a really great question, man. I think the beats are there. I plotted it out, so hopefully I won't write myself into a corner at some point and freak out because not knowing where to go. So the main beats are there. I know how this fourth story arc or volume 1 was gonna end, but how I get there and some of these characters that in issue 2 that I wasn't planning on creating, but it seemed like I needed something to fill a void, whether it was adding a little bit more comedy or bringing back people from Oliver's past, and that's evolving. That's fun, right? So I have an idea of where it's going to go. Again, I know the main beats, but like getting there, and also like the tone of stuff kind of changes a bit. Like if you think about, trying to think, I think, let's see here. Atlanta gets real weird. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, but the tone and everything gets crazy, but it's like things can be funny, but then it can get serious. And it depends on the characters that you're writing and the stories that you're making for them. I think on the whole, it's going to be a dark comedy, but I think it's fun, inserting some more of the serious shit that we're dealing with, right? So to your point, like how does it evolve? And, I'm a new dad, and like that has an effect, kind of puts a different spin on things a little bit. Not that I'm just going to put a baby in the comic, but it's just interesting how the world affects you, and it comes through in the writing. And I think when you do that right, people can feel it. And I think that's something that makes them want to come back to that little bit of an evolution, but still staying in your lane. Yeah. So yeah, I think so.
So you said something that's interesting. So when you say when you do it right, how do you know for yourself that you did it right?
I think you always worry, right? You have this imposter syndrome, at least I do, when I create anything. And I've been writing advertising for 15 years, but that's way different. This is my own thing. I don't have to appease a client. I don't have to appease a boss. This is me. And so you get worried. It's like, am I crazy? Is this right? Like I'm so close to the screen, and you lose it, right? In your brain, and you could let your friends read it and our editor read it, but at the end of the day, when I've entertained myself first and foremost, and when I'm making myself laugh, I have found that that's the best stuff. It's when I start second guessing myself, and it's like, you know what? Is that just stupid? Am I stupid? Like when I start taking that stuff out, and maybe a friend will read it and be like, you know what? You're losing the fun. When I took issue 2 to one of my friends who's helped me edit it, and he's like, you're missing, I think you're missing a little bit of that wink, right? I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I put back the stuff that I took out that I thought maybe it was too silly or stupid. And that, I think, is the goal of when people who enjoy the book, I think that's what they're looking for. So I think, when it feels right just to me, I think when I'm just true to myself, I think that's the best stuff, honestly. Because I want to write for myself, that's first and foremost.
So how do you overcome those moments of doubt where you're second guessing yourself? What do you do to reset?
Yeah, it's tough because you can get in a hole, man. I think I move on. Before, when I first started doing this, actually when I first started writing, screenplays and pilots and stuff like that, I would just get focused on a page, in a moment, in a greater story, just maybe even down to a panel when it comes to a comic book. And what is this person saying in this one sentence? And I'll just beat myself over the head and have like a list of 20 different variations of it. And I finally just had to stop. And it wasn't healthy. I wasn't getting anywhere. I'd throw up a barrier and I wouldn't let myself get beyond it. And so I think what really helped was just put it down and move on. Like write a completely different part of the story, right? And then come back to it. And when I find myself doing that, it's so much better. And it's almost silly to myself that for so long I just wouldn't let myself get beyond it until I fixed it. And it's just like, F that, man. Just move on and come back to it. It'll come to you, right? It's like when you're trying to think of something, like an actor's name or something. It's like, I'm just going to go about my day, and then boom, like it comes to you like a bolt of lightning. Sometimes that's what happens with, story and dialogue.
I think you mentioned something about like giving it off to an editor or somebody to read it, and having them know what the material is, just like what the material is, and say, hey, you're missing this part of it. I think that helps you as a writer also to say, you know what, I got to believe in me more. Like I had that in there. Why did I take it out? You're right. I took it out. Why did I take it out? And and it just takes that one person to say to you, dude, like I like this because the first issue was funny, bro. Like I read it. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Good. I hope so.
I enjoyed the book. I like the. I mean, there was some passages you're like, what, that happened? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of those moments. Do we get some more of those moments in the second book? Do we get those whole moments in the second issue?
You do. And if you want a spoiler, I put the first 6 pages, like I did in the first Kickstarter. I had the first 9 pages where you see that first moment at the end of the bank robbery. Yeah. There's a moment that happens in like the second page or third page where hopefully, you get that. and it involves Oliver, and he doesn't mean to do something, but it happens, and it gets real serious for him. Before it was like, holy shit, someone almost tried to kill me, but now I'm in this and I can't get out of this. And so hopefully there's one of those to kick it right off. And I kind of want to do that in all of my issues. I want to end with a cliffhanger, and I want to start you with a smack in the face, like holy shit moment. And hopefully that's it. And then we get into more of, let's push the story now. Like now he's in the shit. And then I like that dialogue, right? The Tarantino where, we're going to have the Shadow Pack, who are the people, the Tights who saved him, the badasses, and they need something from Oliver, and they take him to their den. And it's this conversation where he's actually tied up, and, they're basically asking him, you're going to have to do this thing for us, kind of blackmailing him a bit. Cause he's like, he's going to have to break the law in order to help them do the right thing. But again, that's his life. That's his livelihood. And he's going to buck against it. But then they're also going to have the thing that happens in the beginning of issue 2 to hold it against him and go, no, you're going to help us. There's nothing you can do about this. Okay. And so I like that. So hopefully there's some fun dialogue in there when Oliver starts losing his shit and starts screaming at him and trying to stand his ground. But he knows he's screwed. So hopefully there's that oh shit moment, and also kind of the fun dialogue and the one-liners and stuff that I had fun writing in the first one.
You mentioned Tarantino, and I couldn't help but notice that you have the scenes from Pulp Fiction on the back.
I know. As soon as they said it, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
I'm a fan. If you can't tell, yeah.
What's your favorite Tarantino film?
I think it's Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
I think
me
it might
too.
be my favorite.
I agree.
It might be my favorite movie. It goes. I love The Big Lebowski. It depends on kind of what mood I'm in, but yeah, it's hard to beat that. It's just a perfect.
You know, it's funny with that movie because he breaks all the rules, right? Like there is no beginning, middle, and end. Like he says, you know what? I know the rules. I'm just gonna break them now. Like, and you're gonna still enjoy the movie. And I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine, Jonathan, and we were talking about which Quentin Tarantino movies the best. And Django in Chains is great.
Yeah.
And the Reservoir Dogs is great.
Yeah.
But there's something about Pulp Fiction, and it's those characters.
Yeah.
It's those characters. You can put them in any scene. It doesn't, and it just shows. You can put them in any order, and those characters still make you want to watch the movie. And I think that's what we kind of strive for as creators and as writers, right?
Yeah,
we want those characters to be so good that you can read that book from front to back. Doesn't matter where you read it, you're gonna enjoy that character. And I think that's tough, man. It's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not an easy thing to do. How many books have you? I mean, how many issues of it have you written already? Or are you still working on? What are you working on?
So thankfully, issue 2 has been done, and we're just getting the art done, lettering. It's 100% finished. So that's awesome, knowing that as soon as the Kickstarter ends, you read the digital or you just got the digital, you're gonna get that. I mean, almost immediately. I just gotta write the thank you page. So I started issue 3. My plan is to just go writer retreat style and try and bang out not just the next issue, but hopefully a couple. So I can then give it to the artists and just have them run in because, as a fan of comics and, being used to reading a lot of I'll call it the big 3, including Image, every month. And it's like indie comics is just, you can't do it. It just takes, you got to get the money, you got to build the thing, just knowing the process that, if your book gets picked up by a big publisher, it's like, they want it all almost done. And it might be a year from now until they start releasing issue 1 a month at a time, but it's finished. And so you can get used to the cadence then as a reader and as a consumer, right? You don't want to piss off the people. So for me, it's killing me that it's taking this long, but I know, it's hard not to have these breaks because you got to build a thing, right? We're building the plane as it's flying. And so I really just want to try and get ahead this next time around. But again, it's hard, right? It's running a Kickstarter and doing the social and all this stuff. It's just a full-time side gig. And it's hard to find the damn time to focus on the writing. So my plan is maybe just take some time off, go in a damn cabin and hammer these things out because I don't know how I'm going to do it otherwise.
Yeah, what's going on? That's so good.
Oh, what's up? Thank you.
So can you talk a little bit about publishing TIGHTS and the home of TIGHTS and that kind of side of it? Can you talk a little bit about, what's happening with TIGHTS as far as publishing goes?
Yeah. So, my dream and my hope was that after having 2 issues, it kind of proves that it has legs. I think anyone can you could take 10 years to write one comic, right? We've seen this with some really good movies too. It's like, this is a perfect movie. And then, they had to follow it up. And it's like, oh, damn. I don't want to call anyone out, but we know we could think of some movies right now or some creators that, have done that. And I think it's important to prove the story has legs. And so I wanted to wait until at least I had 2 issues before going to some cons. And man, I'm so excited about the prospect of that. I've been waiting my whole life. And so I wanted to have 2 issues, right? And I hoped that getting 2 issues out and done, approaching publishers again. I got all excited and I sent out a pitch before issue 1 was done to the biggest names in comic books. It's this no name is pitching an idea. What the hell? It's I have an idea for Warner Brothers. Listen to me for this really great movie. You've never heard of me. That's what I was doing. And, whatever. It's worth it. It's good. It teaches you some things. So after 2 issues, I want to get out there. I want to talk, maybe approach some, indie publishers, bigger publishers. But some exciting news right now that I would love to share is lesser known comics. I think you guys may be familiar with them.
Yeah, Mark Burnell and them.
Yeah, Mark's great. And Mark and I are partnering up. So We are gonna hopefully get Tights in the Lesser Known Comics catalog, get it out there during their Kickstarters. I'm trying to help out everyone. The creators are so awesome. It's not like it's a chore. It's like you just want to help out your friends, and it just, after the conversations we had, it's just we are very similar in what we would like out of a partnership, where we hope to see each other and what we're doing in a couple years. And so, yeah, we're partnering up. I don't know if maybe you'll see the logo on the comics, and he's got good connections with his printer, Comics Wellspring, who I've used coincidentally, and they're fantastic. But he does bigger runs, so we're talking about that and what the future looks like. But right now, for example, they're so great for my. Hopefully, we had 150% funding. We're at 140 right now. Hopefully, before this thing ends in 2 weeks. And we're going to have a lesser known comics like batch of comics, 4 comics, the full comics. And so anyone who is backed, any of the bundle tiers that we have, they'll just get it for free. And so all digital copies of that. So it'll be cool, again, to get more of these really great comics by them, hopefully into the digital hands of the readers of Tights. And again, it's just a nice relationship where we hopefully can help each other out, push our books, and then maybe travel to some cons together,
Right.
So that's been exciting to have that all come together. Actually, I mean, it just kind of happened.
I know, I saw it the other day on the social, and I was like, man, that's great. That's a nice little combo you guys are doing there. So good, congratulations. They've produced a lot. They've published some really cool stuff. I think Tank was one of their graphic novels, which was a very well done book, and they had a successful campaign. I'd love to see Tights as a graphic novel, just compiled into it, because I love reading stuff like that. But man, congratulations, Chris. That's amazing, dude. Good job.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So
hopefully volume 1. That's the idea. Yeah,
right.
As soon as we finish these damn things, hopefully we have that. Yeah.
All right. Before we go into the next questions, we do have to pay the bills, and we have another sponsor. Here comes Tech the Gods. Check out techthegods.com for more. And Dan Price says, "What's up, fellas? Congrats!"
What's up, Dan?
What up, Dan?
And
looking forward to his Kickstarter is going to launch real soon.
Yeah, I know. He's just karate kicking his way to stardom. And congrats from Tardigrade Press.
He's great too.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome. We had him on the show not too long ago. Really cool guy.
Yeah, this community is incredible.
Dude, so good, man.
It's again, it's like there are very few. I mean, people say, of course, in any community there's bad apples, but I honestly haven't run into any yet. Knock on wood. I know there's in everything, but it's been awesome.
So walk us through your campaign. I mean, again, congratulations on being funded. You have 114 backers, 15 days to go. The project ends on the 15th of September. So what can people expect on this Kickstarter?
Well, hopefully we're offering not too many tiers. That's the game you play, right? How many is too many and how few is too few.
Right.
To get you caught up, I know most people, listening to this probably never heard of Tights, but if you want to dip your toe in the water, we got a link to the website, tightscomicbook.com, where we have the first 9 pages, the same 9 pages we featured in the first Kickstarter. So, if you dig that, then, come back to the Kickstarter, and we got just digital tier. I think you can get number 1 and 2 for $8, which out here in San Francisco, I don't think could get you a beer. So that's a pretty decent deal, right? And then we have We still have issues of the first print run of number 1. You can add them on to whatever pledge tier you want. You know, we were lucky enough to get some pretty good reviews for the first book. So thank God I wasn't, again, I was listening to myself, right? But luckily myself wasn't a complete idiot. Yeah, some people, they dig it. So we were very, very happy and fortunate to get those. But yeah, as it comes to tiers, you know, we got a little bit of everything. Like in the first Kickstarter, we have what we call our bundles. And our bundles, you know, they come with the fun stuff, you know, the extras. There's a print by Samuel Wunzi, who does the artwork, the cover artwork for Magic Powder, which is a phenomenal indie comic about to launch its issue 3. I would definitely check that out. And we saw his artwork on the Magic Powder stuff where we have to work with him. And we had him create this. It's an old James Bond movie poster. So it's a movie poster in that style for Tights 2. And it's just badass. And so that's limited to Kickstarter. We have a sticker pack that's limited to Kickstarter. I'm surrounded by crap, right? So from the first one, we have very few remaining, but you know, we had belly pins. We have these. These were a hit and pretty awesome from the first one. And you know, when you order something, you got to order in a big batch. So we still have some of these left. You can add these on, but we got a new sticker pack for the new the new Kickstarter. We got bookmarks, and if you pledge for one of the bigger tiers, anything that says bundle, or if you get the signed print collectors tier, so essentially you get both issues, both covers for issue 2. You get a first print run of issue 1. Everything is signed. You're also included in the bundles in that anything that we print that is a stretch goal. So I got some stickers. Actually, just got a little note that it was just delivered. So they're already here. You got some new stickers. Well, you get all those for free if we add any digital anything. So we got No H2O, which is from Punch Publishing, which is a fantastic 100-page freaking volume 1 for free. And I loved it. So everyone got that as a stretch goal. We're going to offer 4 titles from lesser known comics as a stretch goal. So yeah, if you get one of those kind of upper echelon tiers, you'll get everything that we got that we can send in the same mailer for free. One of these, right? So signed print collector's edition. I think there's a couple early pledge exclusive bundles. So it's the exact same thing as a KS exclusive bundle, but it's just $10 less. And we just had 25 of them. So I think there's a couple of those left. And then, the how to kickstart your comic. Those things went fast. So originally I offered 5. And essentially what it is, you'll get everything that you get in the other stuff, all the goodies. But you also get anything that we got in the making of this comic. So all the sketches, all the pieces of art, the Edison's first character drawings, the scripts, which was really helpful for me when I finally got a hold of a script in Microsoft Word that I could use as a template. That changed things. It made things so much easier, and I really like it. So you can have ours. You know, it's worked for me. Hopefully it'll work for you. And then what you get is, dude, for my entire career, I've been in advertising, writing commercials, producing commercials. In the last 5 years, I work at the biggest social media company on planet Earth, and I teach video game companies how to make ads on phones, on social media. So I think hopefully our social presence is pretty decent. It's worked so far. So what that benefit is, so you get all the stuff, you get all of our resources, our Kickstarter resources, and then you'll get a chat like we're doing now. I'll sit down with you, and any questions anyone has of how to kickstart a comic from scratch. I mean, this is the first time, this is my first book. And so the fact that we were able to run 2 successful Kickstarters, I think there's some things that we've learned that we've effed up in the beginning, and we've got those life lessons to teach. And also just the stuff, again, bringing from what I've done in the daytime as my job for over 15 years, I think how to establish social presence from scratch, what building a template to make social posts looks like. And I'll give, whoever gets this tier, I use Keynote, right? And I just use the simple transitions and I export as a video, and it's helped me. Again, you got to be consistent, right? And when you got to put something out every day, particular a couple times a day when your Kickstarter is moving, that takes some time. And so having a template and being able to plug and play has really helped me. So you get, long story short, you get all that stuff that we've used to make Tights a success, at least in crowdfunding world, as part of that deal.
Nice
Awesome stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah, these look cool, man. I love those characters, the new ones that you have there.
These guys right here.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, Shadow Pack, man. Edison did a fantastic job. I just told him, like, I want a tactical, like, somewhat realistic Snake Eyes, but you know, make them all look the same but slightly different. And he did a great job of doing that.
That's amazing.
Again, keeping them in the real world, but you know, one of them has grappling guns, and technically, if you want to think like, how the hell could you support a human being with a little grappling gun? We're having a little bit of fun, but keeping it somewhat grounded. Oh, and then what we just passed, original art. I gotta call this out. So everything, including the cover art that Edson did, which is incredible, that was in a super tier by itself, where you get everything I just talked about, and you get the 11x17 original cover art, one of one. Someone got that, and then we've sold a couple pages of these too. Edison, unlike the first issue, which was all digital, he did all this by hand. And this is just announced. I can finally, thank you, Dan. What I can finally announce is I've always been telling everybody, man, shouting from the mountaintops. I'm like, Edison, he gets it, and his style is so good, and he's so quick. Like, he's going to make it in this comic book world as a professional. Yeah. And he's working in an IDW. There he is, lesser known. Thank you. Edison now has announced that he's working with IDW. It's called Family Time, and they're making a TV show. And so the dude's serious now, man. Hopefully I won't lose him, but you can get his art, right? Like, these original pages, I think, you know, maybe in a couple years, I think could be worth something. So if you're a collector, not only do they look badass, but, you know, now, you know, the dude is going up and up and up, and I couldn't be happier for him, honestly. He deserves it, and he's a super talent, and I can't effing believe that I got him to be part of this from scratch. Like, I have an idea. Do you want to go on this journey with me? You live in Singapore. I've never met you before. So,
how'd you guys meet? Just on like Instagram or something?
Yeah, well, shoot, I was looking for an artist, so I finished issue 1, and you know, I had this kind of twisted story that's also so hopefully funny, and I'm like, I gotta find a style that does a nice balance between, you know, obviously not being too realistic and then also not being too cartoony, and I saw Edison's work for Snake Claws, which is his own. Dude, he has multiple. He's got a full volume 1, I think it was 6 issues. It's hilarious. He wrote it. Dude did everything. And I saw it. I went to his website. I'm like, holy shit, like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And so I just emailed him and said, this is the book. This is the script. Would you be down to do this? And of course I'm going to pay you, right? It's not like, let's go on this together for free. It's you know, I'll pay you. And he was like, let's do it. And, you know, I found out actually on another podcast that he joined that I didn't know this. He's like, what? I think the person asked him, like, well, why did you choose to work with Chris? Because it was the first time I think Edison had worked with a writer outside of himself, right? It was all creator-owned stuff that he had done in the past. And he's like, well, he had a script and I got it. And it was just, it's funny, and it seems so like simple, but it's true for anyone out there. It's like, it's hard for anyone, particularly artists, to take a chance in the time that they know it's going to take, right? Making comic books takes a hell of a lot of time. So even if you're going to pay them, like, just an idea, just a pitch, an elevator pitch of an idea, it's going to be a hard sell. But if you can just drop the script in the email and be like, read it and tell me if you dig it. You know, he said, like, that was the difference. You know, he had gotten offers, but it's like, no, I saw it and I got it and I could see where it's going. And, you know, I thought it was pretty decent. So that made the difference.
Yeah. No, his artwork is incredible, man. Just those pages, those preview pages that we saw, stuff just pops off the page.
Now, does he also color it, or is it a different colorist?
So we, so for the first issue, he did everything except the lettering, which Reed does it. He coincidentally lives 6 blocks away from me, which is insane because Edison introduced me to Reed. Not in, like, I think he lives in California and he lives 6 blocks away from me. So Reed is great. He does a design of the book too. What we brought on this issue is Maya, and she's fantastic, super pro colorist, and the reason why I brought her on, well, one is because she's badass, and two is Edison began to get more busy, and he's like, dude, I'd rather focus on the pages and do the inks right. And I promise, like, it's going to look even better than the first issue. I'm like, well, it looks great. But he's like, no, it'll look even better. It's going to be more dialed in if we get someone to color it. I'm like, cool. So I put out the word. I'm like, hey, everyone out there, if you know someone who can help us out, let us know. Or if you do color and you'd love to work on the book, DM me. And I had a couple people say, you gotta reach out to Maya. And I saw her work, so she was already on my list. So I'm like, all right, this sounds pretty good. And she liked the book and wanted to work on it, and she's been fantastic. And so adding that element to the team, again, I think the book, the art, everything in issue 2 is just elevated. You know, right. Again, it all looked great in issue 1, but just having everyone focus and have the time, I think it has honestly made a big difference. And it's everything and more than I could have hoped for it.
Yeah. Damn, man, you better get them going in that book 3 before they...
I know. Trust me. The family time thing with Edison, I'm like, we might have a guest artist this next issue. Yeah, but again, we'll see. He's gonna get super busy super quick. But I'd be honored to work with him on this next issue or any issue beyond that. But what's been great is doing these Kickstarters and actually getting guest artists to make variant covers, like Kyle Petchak. He did the variant cover, which is incredible. Meeting people like him and Samuel, who did the print, and Santi Guillen, who did the variant cover for the first book, just reaching out to all these people saying, hey, do you want to work on this thing? I now have, a list of just fantastic artists that, if we need a guest artist or, someone to do a variant cover, it's just good to have that kind of virtual Rolodex to go to. So we'll see. Again, I wish Edison all the best and like success. And I understand if he doesn't have a time to work this in when I am finished, right? And that's the other thing. It's like, I got to get the damn thing written, and I might miss my window, or who knows, but we'll see. We'll keep the train moving though.
No, that's awesome, man. I love what you're doing, brother. And I think you're going to have, you already have great success with this Kickstarter, but I think it's going to continue, and you're going to blow this thing up, man, out the water. So congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's amazing because you were on our show Christmas week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember the art for it had the Christmas stuff. Yeah.
First appearance. In fact, I'm actually putting the link now. If you want to see that first appearance of Chris talking about Tights issue 1, it's in the chat there. Click on that link and you can check it out. That's fantastic. I mean, you have your head screwed on right. I think you ask yourself all the right questions. I think we were talking about on our previous show tonight. We had a pre-recorded show about it's like self-editing and self-reflecting and being honest with yourself. And I think that's how you approach your project. And it goes to show why you're successful with it, because you're very methodical in your approach to it. What advice would you give to aspiring or budding creators out there that are looking to break into comics?
Commit to one idea. I have been chasing so many cars with so many different ideas for so many years, man, that I finally, I had no more excuses because COVID hit. I was indoors, nothing to do, nowhere to go. My kid was born, so she was napping a lot, and I was on paternity, and I had this window, and I'm like, if I don't do something, and if I don't make this damn comic, that was the other thing. It's like, I just need to make a comic. My whole life, I've had to make a comic book. And it's like, this is just something, I see it, and I feel that this is right. and I want to make something that puts me out of my comfort zone. So it was like, no, we're doing this, and I'm never going to forgive myself if I don't. And so I finished that script, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I got nothing to lose. I'm going to reach out to everyone that I think could either help me, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. That's awesome about the community, right? If you have a question, that's another thing. If you don't know something, follow people who are doing what you're doing, right? And just ask them questions. And then you know what? They're going to probably end up being your buddy for a long time. I've made so many new friends just by literally asking people, what the hell should I do? How do you do this? So committing to one idea and following through and finishing it. If you're a writer, that's finishing the first script of your first issue. If it's an artist, you know, create your own stuff, right? Like, not everyone can be, you know, both as talented as a writer as they are an artist, like Edison, but you can make pages. You could put your vision onto paper and build a little site for yourself, you know, put yourself on social media and just have something when you ask those questions, have something for people to see and follow you and get inspired by you. So it's just committing to that, right? It's taking that jump, that leap, because man, I kept taking those little toes in the water of a bunch of different ponds for years. And yeah, I got a lot of ideas for a lot of projects, but that's all they are. So just commit. Commit.
Well said, man. Well
Absolutely.
said.
So we're at that point where we're going to give you the screen. You give you elevator pitch. Why should people back Tights number 2? And where people can find you on social media. So there you go.
Cool. Tights, if you know, elevator pitch of Tights is this. You know, I think it's kick-ass for the COVID age with a little midlife crisis thrown in. I'm a sucker for, you know, superhero stories that are pseudo-realistic. You can kind of put yourself into the characters. You can see yourself into the characters. And this is very much a character-driven comic. You know, it's happening in a world like ours. It's gone a little crazy. And, of course, you have people running around as superheroes. But it's really about people, about relationships. And, again, you know, seeing yourself and seeing the people who you love and hate in those characters. And so, you know, if that sounds like something that you would dig, I definitely would check out the Kickstarter. You know, on the Kickstarter, we have the first video that we did for the first Kickstarter, so you can check that out. I think that gives you a nice intro into what Tights is all about. And then, of course, this time around, you can see new pages from issue 2. We got pledge tiers. You know, if you're just digital and you're like, I don't know, I guess I'll check it out. $8 get you both. But yeah, you could find the Kickstarter, you know, Tights issue number 1 and 2. If you type that in to Kickstarter, you'll find it. If you go to tightscomicbook.com, you'll get all the information. You can read the first 9 pages of issue 1. And then Tights Comic Book on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, you'll find us. So hopefully you'll come check us out.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Awesome. Well, again, thank you again for being on Cast the Craze. Congratulations again. Congratulations on being a dad. And you know, I think you're doing all the right things, you know, so I can't wait to see what happens with your journey. And I'm glad you chose to share it with us.
Well, thanks for having me. Man, you guys bring the energy. It's just always so much fun to be on here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. And you're welcome back anytime, brother.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Will.
Hell yeah. All right, bro. Take care.
Peace. All right, so that was Chris Waigand. Again, this again, if you want to see his first appearance on Cast the Craze, which is what I love. We talked about that. We saw the same thing with Dustin Purnell. When Dustin Purnell came in, he was breaking into the scene, you know, with his first comic book, and then you see what he is today, right? And he's just like blowing up everywhere. And same thing, you know, with Chris. I'd like to see their journey and their progression, and there's always lessons to learn from their experience. I'm glad that they're willing to share that with the audience. So, you know, congratulations to all those guys that we get to be able to sit in the front row. We have the orchestra seats to watch the show.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sense of professionalism that they bring to everything they do, and that's so important. You know, they take this stuff very seriously, and it's obvious, and their success is proof. You know, so yeah, now congratulations, man. These guys are amazing. And I'm so glad that he's hooked up with Lesser Known Comics. Big shout out to them. They've been on the show a couple of times. Yeah. Nice group of creators on there. And thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. who is checking it out. You know?
Absolutely. And again, if you enjoyed this episode and the conversation, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe. If you haven't done so, share it with a friend. Let the world know about Catch the Craze. We are the home to the indie creators, and when we grow, the indie community grows. So more eyes on us, that means more eyes on our guests, and everybody wins at the end of the day, and that's why we do it for. It's fantastic. And join us Thursday morning on the Morning Brew with the Crazy Crew, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring a cup of coffee, pull up a chair. If you're driving to work, pull us up. And George and I, we talk about all things trending in pop culture, comic books, and we talk about interesting topics, and we love to chat with our live audience. So it's always a lively show. And I think this one's episode 27 since we started it. So episode 27 on the Morning Brew. So that's going to be fun. And again, if you haven't done so already, sign up for the launch of There's an Alien in My Toilet, book number 3, I Chihuahua. Link is in the chat. We launch on the 20th of September as well. And thank you to the sponsors of this episode, Daphne Lage with Eagle Raven on Kickstarter. Michael Sammartino, Tech the Gods. Go visit techthegods.com. And Story Comic Podcast. Check them out. And again, we appreciate all of our sponsors. You help keep us in business. So thank you so much. That's all I got, George. What do you got?
Before I fade to black, that's all I got, brother.
I know it's getting darker. So with that said, I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera.
George, the Dreamer Medina.
And we are out.
It's just it's not. Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, it's talking about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh, Lord.
He described me. He said, I'm the
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.